Hey, StreamYards, are we live? Come on, StreamYards. We do this every time. No viewers watching. Come on, are we live? Come on, come on, come on, come on. Show me the way to go home. Yes. Hello, viewer. It is Wednesday, February 7th, 2024. I am Mr. Brune, and I trust you are all doing very well today. On this evening's live stream, we are discussing the goings on, well, it says here, last week in the entertainment and on the social media. It was a week where things, well, we all know what happened in Hollywood, don't we? And even more bad stuff happened in real life. It always does. So, if you've not shut down for the evening, as I always say, lots to get through. Shall we get those guests out? Of course we should. Let's do this. Okay, so taking a big gulp from a VPN far, far away. It's the golden reach around droid of choice. It is Zee-ThreePIO. Hello there.
When the seatbelt light is on, please place your tray tables in the upright position and fasten your safety belts. The exits are to the front and the rear of the plane, and an oxygen mask will descend from above your head, like this.
Get bummed. How are
Good
you, my
evening.
friend?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good evening, young Z, sir. How are you?
I'm very good. Eager to get on with tonight's shenanigans.
Shall we get the next guest out then?
Oh, let's do it.
Great to have you on, my friend.
Always a pleasure.
All the way, the pleasure's mine. All the way from Mongo City. All hail, Emperor Goodwin.
Hail, chat. And hail, Razi.
Hail, Goodwin.
Hail.
Emperor. How are you?
Wonderful. Yeah, Z, your mic needs to turn up just a bit. I noticed that as well.
How's that?
Perfect.
Yeah, but
Absolutely fantastic.
Now, if you could just read the safety lecture again.
Loud and clear.
He's really into his ASMR, though.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Anyway, so you're good, Emperor, yes?
I am good.
Shall we get
That's what my
body
subjects
out?
say, anyway.
Oh, yes.
To my face.
Shall we get the next peep out?
Yes.
Are you sure about that?
Certainly.
Yes, it's good to have you on, my friend. Next, wingman of the channel, all the way from New York. It's PCat. PCat, did you see what I did there?
Oh, hello. How's everybody doing tonight?
Are you leaving today? Are you spreading the news?
Yes, I'm spreading the news, and I want to leave today.
Are you going to make a new start of it?
Yes, and hopefully not in New York, somewhere down the line.
So are you good, my friend? It's great to have you on.
Good to be back. Yeah, doing well. Good to be with everybody tonight.
Shall we get the next individual out?
Yes, do it.
Okay, it's great to have you on, my friend. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Next. He's the new bad boy of YouTube. It is taking some heat, everybody. Echo. Chamberlain.
Well, I got downgraded from a peep just to an individual, so that's not a good sign. But yeah, fresh off uploading probably my worst performing video of all time with the frostiest reception, which is good. It's healthy to do that once in a while.
Yeah, when I watched, I've had to watch your video twice now. Second time I wore a thick trench coat to keep warm. It was that cold.
But it's all right. Like sometimes it's good to kind of prune your channel a little bit. If you can lose a couple dozen subs, that's okay. Because about a year ago, I did a video kind of slightly dissing, what was his name? Jordan Peterson. I did a video critical of him, and I lost a couple of dozen subs.
Oh, I'm thinking about giving you the boot myself now.
But that's now one of my best performing vids, and it just trundles along and got a whole bunch of subs in the end. So it's good. People,
So are you
people like a bit of
saying
discourse.
those people were never truly your followers in the first place then if they bailed ship so quickly?
Well, if someone comments and says, "Oh my god, this guy's just a Disney shill," and literally your last 100 videos have been pissing all over Disney, I think I'm entitled to a little bit of slack.
So you've sold out then, is what you're saying?
That's right. I'm a total sellout now. Yeah.
You heard it first, folks. Echo Chamberlain has sold out, everybody.
Oh well.
I think it's great to have you on, my friend. Shall we get the...
I think
get
it's
the
great
next-
to be here.
There's a lot of thinking. Shall we get the next peep out, my friend?
Oh, we're back to peeps now after individual.
Okay. Shall we get the next person out, individual Mr. Chamberlain?
It's better. Yes.
And last, well, you know who it is, everybody. And last, but by no means least, he is the wise elder of the channel. You know the rest. He's the great mega geek himself. It's old Pac-Man himself, Ian David Diaz.
Hello. Hello, everyone.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
What are you eating, Ian?
I'm eating hobnobs. I decided to eat hobnobs.
Plain or
do you know-
chocolate?
No, chocolate, mate.
Oh,
It's got
they're the
chocolate.
best.
Yeah, they are.
No other guest on this channel has a reaction in the chat like you.
Yeah, right.
Well, he's got a brand. He's got a brand.
Yeah.
What's for lunch? Hobnobs. That's what it is.
Hey, shit.
And it's not shit because it's quite tasty, actually. So there you go.
Are you well? Oh, here you go.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm all
What a
right.
dog shit.
Yeah, I'm a bit stressed today, but I always try to, you get that feeling in your stomach when you have stress. I try to get rid of it by just kind of being calm. Try so hard, but it's very hard though.
I wonder
Sometimes.
if Mr. Chamberlain had that feeling of stressed today.
He's off mic.
He had the feeling of mutedness.
Yeah.
I have the feeling of mutedness because it's 100 degrees in New Zealand, so I have to keep putting on the air conditioner, which was
Really?
loudly. Yeah.
Because you're in the
Nice.
future.
I am in the future, yeah. It's not especially that great.
Is it really 100 degrees?
I'm exaggerating slightly.
We're freezing over here, aren't we, Ian?
Yeah, it's a bit nippy over here. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Snow on the way.
Well, down your area it is. I wish we had snow. I love snow. Anyway,
And not the Colombian variety either.
no, no.
Where is the bleakest place in the world
My
to be
village.
during winter?
My
Would it
village.
be the outskirts of Las Vegas during winter when you're down in your luck? Would it be somewhere in the upper industrial Midwest during the bleakness of winter? Would it be Leeds in the darkness of winter? Where is the bleakest place on earth to be in?
You haven't been to Wandsworth, have you?
I haven't had the pleasure.
Chat, do we know where the bleakest place is? Here you go. Sword in the Storm. Disney World.
Fair enough.
Oh,
Well, I
Slough.
live in,
Wow,
I live
that's a
in,
good shot. Yeah.
I live in Peterborough. We were voted the shittest place in Britain to live.
You
3 years
were, yes.
running. Yeah.
Well, you beat Birmingham.
Oh yeah.
Alabama.
Amateurs.
No, not
You-
Alabama.
Utica NY. Utica.
Utica.
Doesn't it mean
Utica.
Attica?
No,
Utica.
Attica's a
Uh,
prison.
Oh, that's right.
Winnipeg.
That could be bleak.
Luton. Oh, Christ, Luton.
Oh, yeah.
Luton.
There's some nice places in Luton. I've been to Luton. Some nice places.
If you're a Space 1999 fan, it's Luton.
Mm.
I
Grimsby.
mean, I've been in Edmonton, Ontario in winter. That was subpar.
Mm.
Dundee.
Surely Glasgow would be the bleakest place during winter.
Brian
And
will
summer.
agree with you. And summer and spring and autumn. Yes. Okay. So what do you want to do, folks? Do you want to just talk normal bollocks for a bit?
Talk bollocks for a bit. That's what we
Or-
normally do, isn't it?
Or do you want to
It
do
is.
specific topics? Because I have got a small presentation.
Oh, put it
Well,
on.
it's
then.
your
Put it
show,
on.
sir.
Okay, I'm easy. I'm easy.
I read that in the bathroom wall.
Yeah. Okay. I'll say good evening, chat. We can see you. Okay, TBA 35, everybody. Please like, share, subscribe. And if you're feeling that way out, please donate. The channel pays the internet. Okay, so this is 50 years old today.
I know a
Does
lot
it
of
look
people
a
that
day
don't
over
like this
5?
film, actually. I do know a lot of people that don't like this film. I thought it
Blazing
was
Saddles,
hilarious.
everybody.
I thought it was hilarious personally.
Yeah.
It's my
Yeah.
sense of humor.
And it does help if you've got a background in westerns, because they literally use every trope in the book.
Yes, and subvert most of them.
It's a very clever film. Below all the humor, it has something to say. Do you know what I mean? So,
Yes.
Which is?
It's a message of unity in the face of bigotry. And it's a
That's
topic
right.
more relevant than ever today.
Yep.
Really? I
So
can't ever
it
remember
still
seeing
holds
it.
up.
You've never seen it?
Never. Oh,
I can't ever remember seeing it. If I ever have seen it in, I was
You
either
would forget
too
seeing this
young. Well, then I must have been too young to remember it.
I didn't
the
realize
only-
we were skipping to the in the bin segment so soon. But
Oh,
brownies
don't worry.
get in.
Don't worry, folks. I'll be in the bin on Sunday.
The
don't worry.
only problem I had with the film was the climax. I thought it was a bit that they did that to the climax, but my majority of the film is really good, really funny in my opinion.
Kick Brune. Rennie won't do that. Don't worry, Rennie does that.
I think it's so it's clever in that there are very small fourth wall breaks in the throughout the movie, and then at the end they go so over the top with it. They not only break the fourth wall, they're breaking into other movies, and it's just absurd, right? And it's just I think it's hilarious. I
think I have seen it, but it would have been so long ago. I had been so young. It wouldn't have computed. Yeah.
When I saw this on BBC One when I was a kid.
Yes, same here.
The scene that made me cry with laughter, and it is a really stupid scene, is the farting scene with the beans.
The beans, yeah.
Yeah.
My favourite is Candygram for Mongo.
Yes.
Whereas Cleveland Little delivering his lines as Bugs Bunny.
So then afterwards he says the toughest part was inventing the candygram.
If I may, on behalf of Time Profit, spoilers, everybody.
The thing is, though, it is really well written comedy movie, and as I said, Mel Brooks, below it there's this deeper thing, as Zee has said, what it's really about. And the thing about it is that it's not everyone's kind of humor, but for me, this humor is right up my street. I mean, it's very similar to Aeroplane's humor as well. That kind of humor makes me laugh all the time. Yeah. And it's sadly missed in cinema, this kind of humor. I guess the new generation can't connect with this kind of humor, but I can. That's why I like it.
I remember loving this as a kid, seeing replays of it, but it doesn't hold up anymore. There's one or two really funny things that I still laugh at, like when one outlaw is about to be hung and his horse also has
him and the horse.
Its neck.
I couldn't possibly get them in before next Wednesday.
Yeah, but it's a little like it's a good precursor to that later Zucker Brothers stuff with Airplane, so you can see the progression, but it doesn't hold up.
I think that it's so for all of the slapstick, there's really some good setup in the writing itself. So you very clearly, I think it's like the opening scene when they're working on the railroad. The black characters are smarter than the whites. Cleavon Little is the smartest person in the movie, and he's essentially this is essentially a Warner Brothers cartoon. It is Bugs Bunny as live action, and Cleavon Little is Bugs Bunny. The where he first meets Gene Hackman. They play chess. Cleavon Little wins. The when they're dealing with the governor, Cleavon Little is actually suggesting things to Hedley Lamar to convince the governor to send him as the.
Did you say Gene Hackman?
Oh, sorry.
Gene
Yeah.
Wilder.
Gene Wilder.
Gene Wilder.
That's a different beast. Completely.
Yeah. Oh my God! It broke into Unforgiven all of a sudden. That fight is still going on. For God's sakes.
Crossover.
Yes. But I think that throughout it does it and it's so the racism is so overt it becomes hilarious and then diffuses the the idea of racism because Cleavon is always he's always the smartest guy in the room. I love the fact that they then subvert the racism where they go, okay, well, we'll allow the blacks and the chinks as they use in that word, but not the Irish.
Yeah.
And then the group were like, no deal. And so then they also have to accept the Irish, right? There's a and I think perhaps it's a very American movie in the way that it treats and addresses the racism that isn't just confined to what your melanin levels were. Every major immigrant group was discriminated against when they first came to the U.S. in large numbers, and then were eventually integrated into the culture.
I kind of heard that it was meant to be Richard Pryor.
Richard Pryor wrote
Wilder.
it. He helped write. He's on the writing credits.
Oh, yeah, somebody in the chat said Pryor was meant to be.
And because of his drug issues and some of his stand-up stuff, Warner Brothers wasn't comfortable with having him in it.
But I think, I personally think, I mean, no matter what you say, I think Mel Brooks obviously had made his mark in Hollywood comedies. I mean, he's made some really terrific comedies, in my opinion, even though by today's standard, it seems really crap. My dad, right, before he died, God bless his soul, he loved watching Men in Tights. I would hear him upstairs laughing his head off. And he'd watch that film 3 times and he would still laugh at the same joke and stuff like that. I think that's what that's what Mel's humor's got. It's got that kind of comfortable kind of,
it's very vaudeville. It's very vaudeville.
Producers.
Yeah.
Well, the producers again, not a big success. But I think is probably the most sophisticated of his humor. Kind of as Brooks goes on, I think you kind of peak with Blazing Saddles and Young Frankenstein. To Be or Not to Be is more of a social commentary.
Yeah, it was all right.
And then I think in the 80s he kind of falls off. I mean, I don't think Spaceballs is especially funny.
The thing the thing about Spaceballs, right, is it isn't that funny, but as years go on and you look at it, you just laugh at it because it's so stupid.
Edward Senior, 4th best Star Wars film. He's probably right.
I'm not sure I could argue that. Bit of a
I mean, you can
down.
quote. I mean, Spaceballs didn't make a lot of money when it was released, but you can quote all. Some of the lines have become, iconic now, isn't it? Like "Comb the Desert," that line. That was quite funny. And do you know what I mean? So it has it's by default. It's made its way into the lines of humor in films, and people do regard Spaceballs as one of the best comedies now. Do you know what I mean? It has a cult following. So, he's done, in other words, right, if you do something from your heart and you believe in it, sooner or later it'll get recognized, no matter how many years go by. And Spaceballs has got recognized by people.
Atom says Spaceballs does not hold up.
It doesn't.
No,
you're right.
There's far too many current day references within it that make it dated in a lot of ways.
Folks.
When I watched it for the first time, I laughed. And when I watched it for the second time, I didn't.
Did you shut down?
Yeah, kind of.
Folks, Melvin Deeply. Hello, Melvin. Brooks did a TV special in 2015 called Mel Brooks Live at the Geffen, where he talks about his career. I recommend it to all of you.
Well, I think he did about a 10-year period of basically being a kind of Weird Al Yankovic of cinema, sort of doing pastiches and takes of whatever was current.
But Blazing Saddles, it's, as I said, beneath it all has something to say, and it says it very well through humor, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, and you can definitely see the hand of Richard Pryor in some of the writing.
Yeah.
Here you go, folks. Waylon Basiths. Mel Brooks was a World War II veteran as well. I did not know.
Yeah.
Hey, has anybody seen
Wow.
who's that
Jeez.
guy that Seinfeld?
98.
Seinfeld has this show called Comedians Getting Coffee in Cars.
Where he hangs out with Mel Brooks. And,
Well, yeah, and I was really surprised
Carl Reiner.
how old he looked, and every other day he goes with Carl and
Reiner.
they sit, and they haven't had lunch and they talk about the old days and watch old films and stuff like that. And
Yep.
you know, it was really for me, it was really quite sad. I found it quite sad, but also I'm glad that they're still alive. You know, so
Well, to be fair, I mean, he had a pretty good life. He was married to Anne Bancroft, for God's
Yes.
sake. So,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, he's got all the winning.
yeah,
So why is this film now so problematic?
because the idiots think
I've got one word in particular that might be the problem, and it is used liberally throughout that movie. And
The new sheriff is a.
is near. He said the new sheriff is near. No, concern it.
Progressivism.
There's a story about Mel Brooks with who's the guy that directed Razorhead and he directed the Dune film.
David Lynch.
David Lynch is when David Lynch had directed Razorhead, and they were looking for a director to direct Elephant Man.
Right.
So basically, they recommended David Lynch for some unknown reason. And so Mel Gibson produced Elephant Man. Sorry, Mel Brooks who produced Elephant Man said, "But what has he done?" And they said, "Let me show you his film." And so basically, David Lynch was waiting outside the screening door while him and Anne Bancroft went in to watch the movie. And he was really nervous because obviously it's Razorhead and it's really weird. And then after the film had finished, Mel Brooks comes steaming out the cinema and he goes up to him and he goes, "You're crazy. I love you. You're hired." And he walks off, and that's how he got the job. So,
There you go. A Razorhead. Brooks produced Elephant Man.
produced Elephant Man. Yeah.
Wow, I did not know.
It's just the way it was explained. The story just made me laugh because you can just imagine Mel coming through the door, going, "You're crazy. I love you. You've got the job."
Isn't it kind of strange in retrospect that David Lynch, surely at the peak or near the peak of being this kind of surrealist auteur, did Elephant Man and played it so straight and directed it so straight and
it
naturalistic?
is done so well.
It's very strange that he did that, given his personality.
God, it's been a long time since I've seen Elephant Man.
That is I remember that coming on like HBO when I was, I don't know, maybe 12 or something like that, and watching that, and I was like, wow, it's an intense story, but boy does it really grab you, and I've loved that movie ever since.
I remember
There's such a beautiful balance with
people crying.
instead of there being a gushing emotional element within it, you've got Sir Anthony Hopkins, who's extremely restrained, and you like that restraint.
Yes,
and so it's not emotionally overheated or gushing. It has that restraint to it, which makes, I think that's the key element to that film.
And it really treats John Merrick as a man.
Yeah.
And he's deformed and all that, but and has lived this terrible life thus far, and he lacks education and all that, but it shows, that the people around him still see him as a man. And
it's John Hurt, right? John Hurt.
John Hurt.
Yeah.
What
I remember watching it in the cinema and people crying. And at the time, I was quite young. And I remember going to school and everybody doing impersonation and going, "I am not him. I'm a human being." All the kids in the school. So, yeah.
But what a tour de force performance from John Hurt, because he's under 100 layers of makeup. But
oh, God, how many hours did he have to go through just to put that on every day?
Just his slightly slumped shoulders, his tentative movements. What a tour de force performance.
What about was it Michael Elflick was the baddie when he kept beating him in the Boone kept beating him in the jail? Sorry, in the circus.
Yeah, folks, Sword in the Storm. I've never seen Elephant Man. Oh, I think you should.
Brilliant.
Well, correct that, sir. Correct that.
Oh, it's a great film.
It is.
It's good. When was that made, Elephant Man? It's got to be
1980, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
really is an amazing movie.
44 years.
Yeah. His mother was bitten by a radioactive elephant.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah,
And
yep.
it all
Also,
takes off from
it looked
there.
I
great
thought
in
I
black
thought
and
the
white,
comics
didn't
were a
it?
little better, but that was just me.
It looked great in black and white. It was really well shot.
Yeah,
It
and
gave
the black and white
atmosphere.
had a. Wouldn't you agree that Omega Geek,
Mm.
the black and white had a sheen and glimmer to it
Yeah.
as well?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was really
Very
beautiful.
very noir.
Yeah.
The way it was shot.
Atmosphere, gave it atmosphere.
Yeah.
Yeah. In retrospect, it would have been terrible if it had been in color, wouldn't it?
Oh
Yeah.
It wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
mean,
think
the
they could
black
get
and
the
white was
makeup.
perfect for the period it was in.
I think they couldn't get the makeup to work properly. That's why it was in black and white. Jim D. Hopkins is mesmerizing.
Well, Lynch had already done because Eraserhead was in black and white. So
Oh, okay.
I was
Maybe I might
familiar
be wrong then.
with that.
Okay.
That's probably why he got the job.
He's got to be in the top 5 masculine single tear trickling down the cheek instances in film, I think.
Here you go, folks. Sword in the Storm again. It was on TV over Christmas, but it's just not my type of film.
It's not very Christmassy, no.
No.
I can see that though. I can see.
I think you should watch it, mate.
It is a good movie.
It's a fantastic movie. Yeah, it's a fantastic movie.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not. Hello, Amelia. It's not a mass appeal film.
Not really.
Did it win Oscars? It did, didn't it?
I think so.
And I know it was
Yes.
nominated.
Excuse me, mister. Why is your head so big?
You could have done a bit of Cockney accent on that, I think.
Excuse, I can't do Cockney.
Excuse
All
me,
right,
mister.
Gav.
Why is your
All
head
right,
so
Gav,
big?
excuse me, mister. Why is your fatting head so big?
Oi.
Gov.
Gov.
You're only supposed to blow the bloody
Blow the
head
bloody
off.
dolls off. Okay, so are we still? Well, we're not going to be talking about it, but is Blazing Saddle? Start again. Blazing Saddles. Are they still going to be talking about it in another 50 years? What do we think?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
I think
It's a
so.
classic film. It doesn't matter what these idiots say about the film today.
Yeah,
It's
Mircon.
classic. It's a classic film.
Yeah, Mom.
Jamaican.
Rasta. Z, you'll be watching it in 50 years' time, won't you? Because you're a droid.
Yes, I'll be here for the next 100 years while you rot in the floor.
Okay. Do you want to? I think it's a sidestep, folks. I think it's a sidestep.
I think it'll be remembered in 50 years because it's a film where a Jewish director and producer combined a black and a Jewish co-leads and put them deliberately and wittily, incongruously into the middle of the West. And so I think there's an element there which is kind of ahead of its time and really fun. And it'll be looked at as a kind of cultural artifact for that reason.
And to males, to men, boys, whatever.
The
that
bean
will
scene will
live
always
forever.
be classic. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll live forever.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's a sidestep, folks.
Yeah, boy.
James Woods, the mighty James Woods. Today is the 50th anniversary of Mel Brooks's masterpiece, Blazing Saddles. If you use one of the streaming services, this finger-wagging nitwit comes on first to ruin the movie by ranting at you about blah, 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 blah. Yeah. That's how good this movie is. It scares the people who are wet behind the ears, basically.
But she's a woman of color. Doesn't she realize that it's a good thing for people of color because it has that message below all the humor? And if she can't see it, then she's as dumb as a box of frogs, isn't she?
Well,
Yeah.
see, if she recognized that, then there would be insufficient opportunities for grift, and so that would put her out of a job, and that would be too bad.
Well,
The white men are reduced to stereotypes. The moral, intellectual heart of the film is the black guy. There's also a Jewish co-lead. It's satirical. Everyone is in on the joke at the time, and all of that stuff contextually holds up then and now. So get this nitwit out of my face.
Yes, and this So this is specific to the Max streaming service. Netflix, because Warner Brothers is putting a bunch of their movies on Netflix, and Blazing Saddles is one of them. If you watch on Netflix, this idiot does not show up.
But if they're all upset about the N word, what do they have a warning before a Tarantino film starts?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's just ridiculous.
Well, Samuel L.
Absolutely
Jackson
ridiculous.
is saying most of those, so that's fine.
Oh, okay, that's right. Yeah. Ugh, sad, isn't it?
Is there a sign
Sad.
outside the front of my house that says? Moving on.
I think we've lost. I think PCat's gone critical mass. Hopefully,
He'll be back. He'll be back.
I don't like the escalation here. Like you start off with like a little written warning at the beginning of a film or show to say that it might have dated contexts and references. Now you've got some actual chick giving you an actual lecture beforehand. I don't like that escalation.
Yeah, don't worry.
usually-
They'll begin to have the edited version soon enough.
I don't
is
think.
she?
Well, they did that with the French Connection. They took out a scene
Yep.
What?
where Gene Hackman uses the N-word in like a 10-second scene when he's on the phone, I think. And they just censored it out. So that is now removed from existence in the universe.
Not on my DVD, it ain't. So there you go.
It hurts the scene.
media.
It hurts the scene too because
It
by
does,
taking the
yeah.
way the dialogue now, if you're watching it and had never seen it, you're confused about what's going on because it takes away a chunk of the dialogue as well
Yep.
beyond
Mhm.
the. But yet they kept the Italian slur in there, which is okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
So you're trying to create a character who has who grew up in a specific social milieu with certain attitudes at a certain time.
nice.
So you have to be true to that with their dialogue, because that's the context of it,
No,
you got-
Mr. Chamberlain. It's all about presentism now.
I suppose.
you got
But the
folks.
thing is, so I remember this crap happening in the '90s with Spielberg editing E.T. so that the FBI agents.
Oh yeah,
didn't
but
have
he
to
put
put
What?
it.
in
Yeah,
there.
but he basically regretted it, and when they had the screening, was it the 60th? He put everything back, so the way it was supposed
Well, that's
to be.
nice, but he still had the
So-
impulse to censor his own.
Yeah,
movie
but
and
Spielberg
do that.
Spielberg's turned into a real woke kind of person now because of his children and stuff like that. So he's going the way of that, but you can't take away how brilliant the man is. So there you go.
Well, he was a bit of an idiot at that point.
Wasn't it Drew Barrymore that put the idea in his head?
No, it was
No?
I think it was something to do with what George Lucas was doing with his films and then other people telling him that the ending was a bit violent, they got guns, and I think you might be right. Drew Barrymore did say a couple of things to
So
him.
Spielberg first. Spielberg did it before Lucas, before Lucas did the special editions. Spielberg did it for the home video releases, and changed that up. And
Oh no, Close
most-
Encounters was the first one that did it.
No, but I mean, it was Spielberg that was doing it, where he edited it. He wasn't doing it in response to what Lucas was doing. Spielberg
Right.
had done it before. And,
I see.
And if you're aware of like American politics in that time, that is our first real brush with political correctness, where you had the Brady Bill and the gun control. And
Did you say
and-
Brady Bill?
Yeah.
It wasn't
Brady
the Brady Bunch. Was it?
No, the Brady Bunch was a bit different. Yeah. So we had this huge left wing push for gun control, and that's when Spielberg decided to do it.
Oh, okay. So is it true that so when did George Lucas start putting out his new versions of Star
97.
Wars then? 97. So
Yeah.
so Close Encounters predates that, right?
I'm not sure when Spielberg did that edit.
Well, no,
I-
it wasn't because they were going to re-release it, right? And because Columbia said to him, "We're not going to re-release it unless you show us what's in the." He wanted to put out the director's cut, right? And they said, "Well, we'll give you money to shoot more bits for the director's cut,
That
but
was
you've got
early
to show."
80s, wasn't it?
Yeah, was it before Star Wars? That's my question.
Oh yeah. Before Star Wars.
Before Star Wars came out with its special edition.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I just wanted to know. Just
Yeah, but it was
confused, that was
Spielberg
all.
involved in those as well.
Yeah.
I'm not reflexive about little socio-cultural nips and tucks. Like there was Paul McCartney insisted
nice.
that on future editions of releases of Abbey Road
Nice.
that his cigarette be
Yeah.
kind of removed when he's walking across the zebra crossing, and that's okay. You know, his wife died of cancer, and he's moved on. there. So I think I'm not reflexive. There are little nips and tucks that I think are acceptable.
I think it's one thing. So well, go ahead and do Wayland's.
No,
Chat.
Wayland's been waiting for 10 minutes.
Get him in. Get him in.
No, he can wait another couple of minutes. Go on,
okay,
then,
well,
Brett.
fuck him.
Go on, mate.
The thing. So as the artist, you know, especially if you own the intellectual property, you have the right to edit however you want. But the reason that your product has value is because of the audience.
Yeah.
And if you make an edit that offends that audience, don't be surprised if there are economic repercussions for that, right? So you are free to edit however you want. You are not free to assume that the audience will accept it.
May I ask a question then?
Sure.
Is George Lucas allowed to release the first version of Star Wars?
Yeah, sure he is. I think
You mean with regards to the Disney
Yeah.
ownership?
Oh
of intellectual
no,
property?
yeah, you're right.
No, I don't
maybe.
believe so.
Yeah, maybe they. The thing is, though, George Lucas. There is a huge rumor that George Lucas does have the original version of Star Wars untainted. He does have it, and it is graded, and it does look great today. There is a rumor that he actually
That'd
has.
make a
yeah,
shitload of money, that one.
yeah, but he doesn't need it. He doesn't need the money. So he's got
If he
billions in
was,
the bank.
my point was, if he was allowed to release that,
Yeah, but Disney owns it all now.
that specific one version, though.
Yeah. Just imagine the Blu-ray sales on that alone would just go
That'd be
through the roof.
It'd be a big finger to Disney.
Well, you heard what happened to Doctor Who, right? It was the
Dr.
Leela,
Watt.
Dr. Watt and Dr. Who. they shot this little trailer with Leela in it, you know, and the Daleks and stuff like that, and that had more likes than the trailer for the Ncuti Gatwa version of Doctor Who. So there you go.
Here you go, folks. Waiting patiently. Waylon Pacificus. She shows up before Gone with the Wind too. Oh, God.
Yeah, that was the first movie I remember reading about that Max was messing around with as far as giving people trigger warnings.
Yeah, that was like 3 or 4 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I think the first trigger warning I saw was the Whoopi Goldberg one for the anniversary edition of Tom and Jerry DVD, where they kept the Mammy Two Shoes clips in, but did a little warning about.
Oh, you mean Thomas?
Yeah, that were
We used to call her Tom and Jerry's mum. We used to call her when we were kids. Yeah, it's Tom and Jerry's mum.
Here you go, folks. Khalid Sawar. Hello, my friend. Blazing Saddles was the film you couldn't wait to talk to your mates at school the next day, especially the campfire scene.
Yeah, all making farting sounds in PE.
You know, when I first saw the movie, my parents had urged me. They were talking about the movie so much, and it was going to be on TV. You have to watch it. You have to watch it. So it was a Saturday afternoon. I was young. It was on a public channel, so it wasn't cable. And they told me that was the scene that's going to make you roll over and laugh the most. So that scene comes up, and they edited it. So instead of the farting noises, they edited in horses neighing. And so I didn't know what I was missing. And I remember going to my parents. I'm like, that scene was the worst scene I'd ever seen. What was so funny about it? It was stupid. And they didn't know what I had seen. And they're like, no, what's wrong with you? It's hysterical. I said, they did nothing. I said, what, you didn't hear? I said, what'd you guys? I said, horses neighing. And then my dad was like, oh, they were ripping away. And it wasn't until a few years later when it was back on HBO that I saw it and got the full experience.
Yeah.
You go, folks. Nameless No Name. Does she show up before every episode of The Cosby Show? Christ.
Crosby Show.
Here you go, folks. Jim D. The AFI requested a copy of Star Wars for entry into its vault. Lucasfilm sent the special edition, which was rejected because it wasn't the original version which won all the awards.
Yeah, he's got it though. He's got it. He's definitely got it. There's no way he doesn't have it. I'm telling you. You know what? One day he's going to be on his deathbed and something's going to happen. He's going to sell it for billions. He really is.
There's also 2 great restorations out there. You've got the
Yes,
Harmony
there
CD
is.
Specialized Edition and Project 4K77.
Yeah.
Still not seen that.
Have you not?
No.
No, it is. Is it a must? It's an absolute must-watch. If you want to see how it was originally delivered, how you remember it in the cinema, then get either of these.
I do like the version that's slightly graded though, because the other version has the same colors as it was if you saw it projected by 35 in a flea pit cinema. So it's kind of bluish kind of thing. I don't know if you noticed that, but the other version is kind of they kind of slightly tone it a bit so it looks slightly better. But it depends on how you want to see it. How, you know, if you want to see it in its original print, then you watch the first one, I guess.
Here you go, folks. The prof says 4K77 is fabulous.
What is George doing with his $1 billion?
Look, George doesn't have to do anything now. He's got a huge family. He's got a new, well, I would say new wife, but he's got a this is his second wife or something like that, and he's just having a good time, man. You know, I don't blame him. You know, he was very clever and he made a crap load of money. The only mistake he made was sell it to Disney, but apart from that, he is the most successful independent filmmaker in the entire world.
Let's say if Disney did sell Star Wars to another company
for
like Amazon
$1,
or whatever,
that's what it's worth.
Could Amazon be able to say, what we're doing with Star Wars now, we're decanonizing Disney Star Wars. We no longer consider that canon, and so we're starting afresh.
Yeah, they can. Of course they can.
So you have Disney already did this with extended universe stuff that Lucasfilm had already licensed for books and things like that. So as the property owner, you can say this is no longer canon. The thing about canon is, and we often forget this, whether something is canon or not is an agreement between both the creator and the audience as to, you know, things that they accept as part of the universe. Disney owning Star Wars and claiming that the sequels are canon in no way affects me going, no, they're not. Right, that I no longer buy that canonization. Right, I will stick with the Star Wars that I know and accept as part of that intellectual property. So,
but wouldn't Disney, in its 1,000-page contract with the new people, say in clause 16, subclause 18b, paragraph 6, that Disney's must be retained as canon? Otherwise, the sale is null and void.
Yeah, well, they can.
Then I think what would happen is the buyer would go fuck yourself, because. But
that's what I'm saying. They can. Look, nobody would buy it if that clause was in there.
Right.
Because what's the point? Because you can't do anything with it. So I'm saying, so they have to remove, if that clause exists, they have to remove it so that because they want to sell it, right? They want to get rid of it, right? Yeah, exactly. So you know, if someone like Amazon or even me, if I was a huge billionaire, whatever, and I brought it, I'd definitely stand up and make a statement saying everything that Disney has done so far is none and void. We're starting from scratch.
in that moment, would all of us, to use Brown's old-fashioned term, arrive?
I think we would definitely give him one.
I'm arriving, everybody. I'm arriving. I've arrived. Here you go. Jim D. Lucas received just over. In fact, Z, this is for you, mate, I think.
Jim D in the chat says Lucas received just over 4.
You're going to blow out your mic.
Billion from the sale of Lucas.
There you
go. He gave it all to charity. Legend, hero.
Really?
Storyteller.
I did not know.
I did not know.
Isn't that beautiful? Just some ideas and images you had in your head, which you wrote in a scrapbook, that eventually, in the goodness of time, would be worth $4 billion.
Christ. Here you go. Professor says, at Mr. Brown answers me, if you want to watch the 4K Star Wars thingy, you have to sign up for a forum to get the links, and they require file sharing software. Is put the link there, folks. So that'll stay in the chat. So
that's what I'm saying. You can't stop the fans from, especially if they don't make any money out of it, you can't really stop them, really. If the fans want to create their own versions or do what they're doing now. You can't stop them. Just goes to show, don't it?
What would be the hypothetical legal morass if, say, the new owners brought back Mark Hamill and said, in our new post-Disney decanonized thing, Luke Skywalker is now reimagined by us as this type of character? Do you think they could get away with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
You own the property. You do whatever the
Yeah,
hell
a lot
you
of
want.
franchises have done that.
Open the movie with Mark Hamill sitting in a rock, closing a book, going, "That's not how it happened."
Yeah.
Where did you get this book from?
Or just pull a new heart.
Yeah.
As I said, I
amazing.
think all the Star Wars fans around the world would rejoice if that happened, and then Disney would
never
look
gonna happen, though, is it?
like idiots.
No.
Well, you never know. You never know.
Not in the foreseeable future.
Well, life's full of hope and surprises.
Yeah.
So
Bob
you
Hope.
never know.
Bob Hope.
But there is a multiverse somewhere where Harrison Ford comes back as an alive Han Solo in a new Star Wars film by a new company.
Do we want
you know-
Han Solo back, though? He's a right grumpy bastard.
No.
That's true.
You know what, right? If they did do that before the film starts, this lady will come out and say,
Yeah.
She'll come out. She'll come out.
I would actually, if I bought the property, I would have a trigger warning message before any Disney. This is not
Yeah.
Star Wars, and let's all just remain calm. This is a sad artifact of some cultural desecrators.
Yeah, it would say it was all a fever dream.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be like Dallas.
Yeah, exactly.
Sell the new trilogy to the Mystery Science Theater people and just let them rip away.
Dallas was never the same after the. I loved Dallas. It was
Bobby
just-
Ewing.
Yeah, the Bobby.
It was just. Oh,
But you know
every
where
time I
all this
saw
is
Sue
going.
Ellen made me feel thirsty for some reason.
swelling.
You know where this is going. It's the return of Thrawn, the rise of the First Order, the fall of the New Republic, Jake Skywalker.
Never mind. Okay, do you wanna? Shall we move on? Yeah. Shall we
Move
move on?
along.
Okay.
Moving
I don't know what's next.
Matrix.
Okay. This is 25 years old in about 4 weeks. Can you believe it?
It's a good film. It's a
Can you
good
believe
film.
Yeah.
it?
Good film.
Yeah, it's a really
Spoiled
good
the
film.
ending, though. The ending was spoiled.
Yeah, shame about those sequels.
It was a good film, but you can see where all the influence comes from, all those manga movies and manga cartoons and stuff like that. So, but it's still a really groundbreaking visual effects wise movie. I remember seeing it and just being blown away by all the action in it. And the soundtrack
Yes.
kicks as well, doesn't
Oh,
it?
yes, it does.
Oh, yeah. For sure. This is the first movie I owned on DVD. I still
Oh,
have the
wow.
Original.
Oh, nice.
And it was Region 1, which I put in my Region 3 DVD player. And I think I got it about 2 weeks before it was on at the cinema.
Wow.
Oh, yeah,
How'd
because you
you
have
do
the
that?
lag. You have the lag. When did this come out in Britain?
Oh, my God.
What at the theaters?
Right,
It was March in the US.
right.
June.
Well, end of March, I think.
June, or was it Dune?
Really? Oh,
In-
so it wasn't like delayed by a year or anything like that.
I had just got back from Glastonbury Festival, and literally got back from Glastonbury Festival high as a fucking kite. Went straight in to watch The Matrix. Amazing.
June 99.
It's a great film.
Yes,
I mean, it
is.
started off all that bullet time, didn't it? And
Yeah.
there's only one plot hole in this film that doesn't make any sense. Who's the guy at the back there on the left? The question was,
Cypher.
how
Cypher?
did he meet? How did he meet with
Agent Smith
Agent Smith? It doesn't make any sense.
jacked in.
Yeah, but they would see him jack in.
Well, not necessarily. There were plenty of times people were asleep.
Well, you had who's the guy that was on?
Now the problem is, how the hell did he jack out?
yeah, well,
Jack off.
or
No,
jack
no,
off.
no. We know how that happens.
But yeah, there's I can't remember how it doesn't make any sense. I can't explain, but I remember at the time I was trying to. A lot of my friends were saying that doesn't make any sense, and I think they made sense at the time. So, if anyone could bear some light on that for me, I'd appreciate it.
Chat, anybody know?
Well, I mean, he sneaks into the Matrix when everybody else isn't there, and
Well, yeah, it must be when everybody's sleeping.
right.
But how does he get himself out though? Can you take?
That's right.
Well, I think
That's
you
it.
wake up, and
No,
sit up.
you've got to, so basically, who's the guy that was his name Hammer, or what was his name is the black guy
Tank.
that was on Tank?
Yeah, got Tank.
You've got to have somebody operating that so you can go in, as far as I remember in the movie.
No, it's no. So you have the one that sets up the Sims,
Right.
for his training, but
Right.
to actually get in, they do that. Yeah, you have to have a call and all that. But again, somebody could set that up.
But you
themselves.
need
Egg-
somebody to
egg
pull you
timer?
out, don't you?
Has he got an egg
Yeah,
timer?
yeah, egg timer. Yeah.
Well, as I said, it's just, and after all that, why would he why would he do it? Then again, he wanted to. He just
Well,
wanted
he
to be ignorant
explains
of the
that-
whole
that-
thing,
that-
didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, the reality is such shit. He's what he's the one thing I learned: ignorance is bliss.
Mm.
Sometimes a film will catch the pitch of a changing culture, and around this time, the internet
Oh,
had been
good
around
you
for a
are.
while.
Fucking
Well, the
hell.
internet had been around for a while, but it was still kind of nebulous about how to understand it and what its frontiers were. And so Hollywood had been trying and mostly failing to capture the idea of the internet and cyberspace with stupid films like Hackers
Lawnmower
and stuff
Man.
like that. Yeah, and they were terrible.
Lawnmower
So
Man
this
sucks.
film showed this really exciting ideas of the potential of how the internet and cyberspace could evolve. And it did it by being super modern, but also going deep into Greek myth and all these ideas about reality and perception, and kind of pretentious and wanky, but also super fun and exciting. And it also, as a visual aesthetic, you'd have tons of guys who were mostly like the bass player in a middling death metal band who would always be wearing these trench coats everywhere. Just
Yeah.
all these dudes.
Hey, I had one of those.
You
Were
had
you the
a bass player from a middling band.
No,
Yeah.
I had one of those long leather trench coats.
That's because you're a cosplayer. That's why you had one of them.
Yeah, but
I
I
always
wasn't
wanted one.
cosplaying. I just thought it was cool.
I always wanted one.
To be able to capture that aesthetic and the idea of the changing culture, and also do it with like the bullet time and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it was exhilarating. It was fun. It was great. And just being 1999, right when Y2K paranoia
Oh yeah.
starting to stir as well. So just
Here you go, folks. T-Gun. Which colour were the pills offered at Glastonbury, Miss Brown? All of them. It was the year it pissed it down, and it was hell. And I
Also,
needed.
Matrix
them.
was one of the very first Western movies that had that kind of stuff you saw in Japanese movies,
the wire
Korean
work
movies
and-
with the wire work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was that stuff got introduced to the Western world. Even though, because I was a freak when it comes to movies, I've seen all that,
Still
all
are,
the
mate.
Japanese stuff. Yeah, so I knew the wire work stuff, but I was really surprised to see it in an American movie. So
Yeah, so I saw this. I was in Silicon Valley working when this came out, and
Nice.
and so you had of the era, you have the .com rush that's happening. Everybody is investing in anything that says .com in it. Cyberpunk had started had a serious revival. Video games had really gotten to the point where you could do first person games and really felt like you were immersed in it. And then this movie comes out along with the music and all that. Yeah, it really is like multiple intersections all hit at this one locus of a movie and just really capture the imagination of everybody.
some scenes like when he's with Lawrence Fishburne and it's the old-fashioned antique chairs in a otherwise sterile environment.
Right.
And when Neo wakes up in that pod, that scene is still gripping and
great.
amazing
Yeah.
as a revelation.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Here you go,
there's a few little
folks.
bits and pieces that don't quite stand up, like the equivalent of the USBs back then, or the floppy disks. Looks
Yeah.
pretty old-fashioned now, but
Or the phones.
yeah, but 99%.
Everybody wanted those Nokia phones.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, everybody wanted those. Here you go, Smilex. That DVD had so many features. Anybody got the big boxed set they released? I got the big box sets. All 3 films. And was it the Animatrix?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Animatrix.
I got
Yeah.
the Animatrix graphic novel as well. It's a pretty good read.
Yeah. I think I paid about 15 quid for it. It's got I've never even watched all the features. There's so many, but it's it's a really great box set. Here you go, folks. Drew says, here you go. Ringo Lam kind of did Bullet Time of a sort in Full Contact, 1992, but that was a take on, was that Ramicam?
Raimi Cam, as in Sam
Raimi
Raimi, I
Cam
suppose.
forensic camera work with
Frenetic.
shots.
Frenetic, not
That as well.
forensic.
You're still coming down from those drugs from 20 years.
Exactly, yeah.
We tell you what, Echo, could you possibly read that then, please? Because I'm butchering it.
Drew Gordon in the chat informs us that Ringo Lam kinda did Bullet Time of a sort in Full Contact in 1992, but that was a take on Raimi Cam, frenetic camera work with shots tracking the bullets. Classic film Full Contact is highly underrated.
Anything else? Let's have a look. Okay. Zee, you available?
Back when the Wachowski sisters were brothers.
We're going to cover this, folks. We're going to do this for the 25th because I've been doing the slides.
Here's a controversial take. Are you ready for my controversial take?
Another one.
Go for it.
2 in one day.
This is very unusual for Echo to have a controversial take.
Well, the Wachowski siblings, their gender dysphoria, do you think they could have created this film in the kind of visceral, intense way it is about reality and unreality and perception if they didn't have that gender dysphoria as part of their identity? Do you think it fueled and informed some of the writing to at least a certain extent?
No.
No.
I believe that the trans allegory is a retcon.
Yes. It's much more based on like late 1960s French philosophy.
Yeah, I believe in the retcon, absolutely. But the idea of the dysphoria, like you could make links about that could inform their writing?
I'm
Chat
dubious.
say
I mean,
no.
could it have? Yes, but all I have to do is question the idea of other minds and basic sci-fi tropes and come to a similar conclusion. The idea of the unreality of reality isn't an especially new idea, and has been treated in other films probably more intelligently, but not as visually pleasing.
You go, folks. Jim D. Women don't direct action films like this. They're just a bit odd. That's all. There you go, Echo. They're just a bit odd.
Fair enough.
Weird.
Weird. Here you go, folks. Joshua. Hello, Joshua, for $2. Thank you, my friend. Hail, Brown and all. Amusing as usual. Have a good one.
Everyone loves Joshua.
Thank you, my friend.
Yes.
Thanks, Joshua.
I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah, the more interesting thing to
Moving
me
on.
is I think so the Wachowskis. All right, Smilex.
Calm down, boy.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, most of the alienation motif in this movie is much more tech related than it is, body dysmorphia or gender dysphoria.
Okay. There you go. Script killer. Okay. Right. So as I said, folks, we're going to cover this. I've got 20 minutes to do of slides. So we'll do this for the 25th. And I think we might do it over 3 streams. Take our time because I've been taking the stills from the remastered version and it looks fantastic. And literally,
bearing in mind your Force Awakens stream went across 5 streams.
I believe Brownie's being a bit optimistic. Although there may not be nearly the opportunities to bring up Queef in
how many streams did RoboCop take? Was it 7?
Oh, it took a while. Yeah, that was a beefy boy.
Oh, it will give. I will say, if you want to come on for the Matrix, let me know. Yeah, so it will give people, different people, a chance to come on. Yeah.
Yeah.
we'll take our time with it because it is such a great movie.
We need
It still looks
guns.
great today.
Lots of guns.
Lots of guns. Yeah.
Lots of them.
Here you go, Sod in the Storm. Wait, RoboCop. I missed RoboCop.
You must have been
How could you have
gone for like
missed
2
it?
months.
Yeah, it was a month and a half of streams.
When did you get out of prison?
7 streams doing RoboCop. And I loved
7.
every single one of them. It's a great movie. You've got to take. You can't rush great movies, Echo.
I guess.
7 streams is what it took, and I'm happy with that. But anyway, okay. Shall we move on, folks? Shall we move on? Move on. So, Matrix, everybody, you've got a month to rewatch it. Okay.
Before it gets butchered.
Okay. Ewan McGregor says he really wants to do another season of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Let's hope they do another one. Can everyone write to Disney? Who's going to write to Disney then, folks?
I believe Echo already did.
I did, yeah. I said, Dear Disney, can you please not do this?
Yes.
He just
'Cause
needs money.
He's just, the character is stuck in this tiny, awkward little pocket in the timeline. So, he's come out of retirement and then he's gone back into retirement and then he's too old for this shit. So if they do another season, that'll be plus the Force, A New Hope, that'll be 3 times where he reluctantly comes out of retirement to do shit one last time. So I don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah, here you go, folks. Phantom Menace. Yeah, that's 25 years old as well, isn't it?
Thing is, if they do another Obi-Wan, the first episode he'll appear, and then suddenly this woman appears, and then we'll be following the woman around.
Reva!
And that'll be that. Yeah.
Not according to in the chats. Dear Disney, please kill off the Reva.
We just
That was
don't
over.
use a lightsaber. We already know that doesn't kill anybody anymore.
Anymore. Yeah.
Except this time, Mega Geek, it'll be Leia, except this time she's grown slightly to be a tween, like Snips in Ahsoka.
That's right. Oh boy.
I don't think they
Doesn't
can ruin this
make it
character
go
any more
away.
than they already have.
Yeah, how much lore can they destroy with the second season? All of it.
Make it go away.
By the way, even this isn't getting made.
McGregor must know Obi-Wan was shite.
McGregor has no work. That's why he's put the crap out like this. He has no work. He needs the money. Who can blame him though?
Perhaps he could get an honest job working street corners.
Shall we move on then? Because it's just
Yeah, nobody cares about this.
nobody
It's
cares.
depressing.
Everyone says.
Depressing, I tell you.
And we were all looking forward to this.
I will say there is a great callback in this in the first season to Blazing Saddles. I believe the laser fence is comparable to the toll booth set up
Yeah.
in that movie.
Yeah. Do you remember the Carvid?
Yeah, you're no fans of Star Wars in my book. Well, you're not in my book, so get the hell out.
Okay. Let's move on then. Let's see what's next.
Bum bum bum.
I'm not going to read all of this because I'll be here all week. But this is the Gina Carano stuff from yesterday. I'll just read the first paragraph. Today is an important day for me. I'm filing a lawsuit against Lucasfilm and Disney after my 20 years of building a career from scratch and during the regime of former Disney CEO Bob Paycheck. Lucasfilm made this statement on Twitter, terminating me from The Mandalorian. Gina Carano is not currently employed by Lucasfilm, and there are no plans for her to be here in the future. Nevertheless, her social media posts, was it degrading people?
Denigrating.
Yes,
Denigrating.
that as well, based on their cultural and religious identities are abhorrent and unacceptable. And then she goes on to say, nothing could be farther from the truth. Blah, 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 blah. Who would like to go first on this hot potato then? Echo?
Should I?
Well, if you don't, I will. So you go first, because
Okay.
I'm not sure we'll survive if I do.
All right. Two things to this: unfair dismissal and the way in which she was dismissed. Thanks, Manuel. Okay, so let me lay the
The good
groundwork.
news is the subs you lose will not be your own. They'll be
they'll be
brownies, so
mine.
it's all fine.
All right.
Oh, Christ.
Okay.
Moving on.
Right. So let's start with what we all agree on, which is Disney is a fetid, rotting, malignant, pustulous corpse full
It's
of
not that good.
hypocrisy and heinous people with
It's
terrible
not that good, mate.
ideology.
It's not that good.
Yeah. Okay, so we're all there. That's fine.
Yes.
And then let's move up to the next step, which is the language with which they dismissed her, denigrating people based on their cultural and religious identities are abhorrent and unacceptable. Heavy-handed and stupid language, and whoever sent out that post should be fired.
Yes.
And she has, I think, some basis to maybe get some money back from them from suing about that mischaracterization of her. So there's that on one side. On the other side, you've got the idea of freedom of expression, which we all love. Free speech is as American as a bald eagle in a stars and stripes sweater swooping down from Mount Rushmore to pick at an apple pie. Freedom is as American as
Somebody
two guys
has
in
gotten out
cowboy
their
hats.
script, for God's sakes.
Yeah, but so there's that on the other side. But if you're working for a company, then those companies have internal processes and values, and there's an implicit understanding that if you go to work for a company as your choice, that you're going to have to modulate your tone on certain things. And so that's their right. That's the other freedom of an American corporate monolith. No matter how cynical and hypocritical, they've got the right to do that. So the way in which she was fired was heavy-handed. She can get some money back for that. That's okay. But they had a right to fire her. So I just think on the fundamental merits of the case, that's where I go.
But Pedro Pascal didn't lose his job for posting similar Nazi memes.
That's true. In my video,
standards.
So
in my video, I talked about that, and I addressed that in my video. He should have been held to account and probably even fired as well. But two wrongs don't make a right.
I mean, she's also got the
What about three wrongs?
The loss of earnings potential, because the role of Cara Dune had already been approved by Disney Lucasfilm for Rangers of the New Republic, which they announced at the Disney D23 Expo 4 months before they fired her. So she was going to get further employment if it not for this incident.
So that's actually dangerous for her. At the time, according to at least Disney's statement, she was not under contract, and they were able to separate with no harm, no foul, at least in their mind. They then stupidly decided to use potentially defamatory language in announcing her departure, which opened them up. But
yeah, that was a bit.
Yeah, so there's an interesting kind of dilemma. Them saying that she was not under contract and was not an employee eliminates their ability to countersue for losses on their side. However, if she is claiming and brings forth that the Rangers of the Republic was a future endeavor that was currently being worked on, and she was going to be integral to that, Disney then has the opportunity to countersue for losses that they incurred because of her behavior that could have violated whatever morals clause she had as part of her contract. So that's a double-edged sword.
What they really need is to get a judge to agree to this case going to trial, which will open up discovery where they can get all the emails, memos, and discussions on Gina Carano from Disney themselves, and that has the potential to do them a hell of a lot of PR damage.
The reason why
Which
it's
would be great.
the reason why it's $75,000 is because that's the minimum amount before it will go before a judge and it's public. So
no.
there's
If they do,
No,
rule
that's
in
not
that-
Isn't it?
entirely correct.
Is that not okay?
Okay,
No.
so what happens is there's a reason that they chose $75,000 because she lives in a different state than Disney is headquartered in. So I believe she's in Montana,
Okay.
and Disney is headquartered in California, and the suit is being brought based on California law. But because you have two people from different states and the amount is $75,000 or more, it gets tried in a federal court
Okay.
Yeah, it's a
Right.
federal court with a state
that has to operate within the California
yeah.
State laws.
State statute. Yeah.
Right. Now, California, having hired and worked in California, and blessedly I don't anymore, the labor laws in California are a vast maze of mess, and have only gotten worse because of rulings that and laws that the legislature have passed, such as in their attempt to kneecap Uber. They claim that any contract employee who has to show up and work certain times is to be considered an employee, not a contractor. So Disney's being able to hide behind this was just a contract job may have got up and walked away due to that. There is also California statute regarding labor and political beliefs as not being a fireable offense. Now, that's not an entirely clear-cut law because of her being essentially a public figure instead of a private individual. And, oh, by the way, I'm not sure that has been fully tested within the courts to find its limitations or not. So this is, it's one thing, and I think Echo's video very much talked about kind of the moral and broad strokes about what freedom should allow and not allow. When it gets to the actual legal parts, it becomes a much messier subject. I have real doubts that she is able to win on her political stance, and I'm not sure that her case actually makes a very strong argument in that favor. There is some potential argument regarding discrimination based on sex, but I think that her best chance is defamation. But more importantly, I don't think she gives two shits about winning this case and is very much
It's just
more
a point
interested
now, isn't it?
in discovery. When you get into the discovery phase, you get to unlock a whole lot of things like non-disclosure agreements. You get to pull in communications that are internal to the company. Right. That's an embarrassment that they don't want to face. And the fact that she's only asking for $75,000 ought to scare the hell out of Disney's lawyers, because it sounds like that makes it clear she's not all that interested in settling. As long as she has someone bankrolling the legal work.
It's
so
about sending a message.
We're actually basically pretty much aligned then, I think, on our interpretation. Yeah. Because don't you want to make sure that, in the private sector, there should be an uphill climb to get damages if you're let go because of online posts deemed offensive that contravene workplace policies. Like, let's say, for example, Geeks and Gamers, right? Let's say that there was an employee there with a very high profile who was tweeting about the absolute unanswerable and urgent need for trans kids to have the protections and get the puberty blockers that they need in order to hasten their transition. Like, the company would, in that instance, have a right to say that this company isn't a fit for you. You're kind of in contravention of our attitude and spirit and values, and so we might have to let you go. Would that be fair?
Yes. And so for those who want to run desperately clinging to the First Amendment, you might want to read the first sentence of the First Amendment. Congress shall make no law. Our amendments are proscriptions against government behavior, not individual private behavior. As both an individual, I have the freedom of association, speech, religion, and everything else. That does not mean that if you come over and spurt out whatever you want to say, that I am required to be an audience or to provide a venue for that. And if I, and a company is nothing more than an association, as long as it's private, it then also carries those rights to decide the message that it wants and doesn't. Now, unfortunately, our federal government, through some very interesting legal machinations, has certain non-discriminatory laws that it has managed to make work via the Commerce Clause. But that is also not an absolute. It gets real tricky because of the way that it had to wedge some of those things in. So to blanket say that either she's going to lose or win is a pretty hard row to hoe. But from an overall, legal philosophy standpoint about, the benefits of rights and privileges that you have, the company should very much be allowed to fire whomever they want for saying whatever they deemed inappropriate. And the mistake that we risk is saying, okay, we want this outcome, and so we will excuse certain means in order to achieve that outcome. The problem is those means can be turned around on us. The Catholic Church cannot hire someone. If you want to say that Disney is not allowed to discriminate based on political view, then the Catholic Church can't fire a janitor for going out and having pro-abortion, pro-gay, pro-divorce, rallies, and pointing out that, oh, by the way, I'm a janitor for the Catholic Church, right? You removing the ability of one corporate entity to be able to choose the message they wish to have means that all of them don't have that ability. And
I don't quite get that. I'm not sure if there's a comparison there that quite works, because the Catholic Church is it's a religious body with religious protections. That would be the argument they would press in those circumstances, rather than a public-facing entertainment entity.
No. So within the religion itself, so you can't apply it to priests or anything like that. But a religious entity also is an employer for certain roles, right? Like, so again, I'm a janitor. I have nothing to do with the religion itself. I'm not a member of the clergy, and I don't operate under that particular protection. I still have to pay taxes on my income and all of that, right? And so the church in that instance does not have absolute protections. If you say that Disney can't toss out people who give out a message that that they disagree with, then the church will suffer similar restrictions, right? So once you handcuff one side and say you have to allow anything to be said, and oh, by the way, that gets real slippery, because what if you have the most offensive person in the world, who puts on his white hood and burns things in people's yards, right? If they're out saying something, you can't fire them. You really want to go down that slippery slope? But trying to score a win against Disney because you don't like what they're saying means that that rule then gets applied to all business entities. You don't want that to happen.
I've been asked to translate this into layman's terms in one sentence.
Look at that.
Look at that.
I mean, how do you think this is all going to go? Because I'm personally at the
Look at that, everybody. Look at that.
Yeah.
See?
Well, I think we're basically aligned. We think that she might get recourse for damages for reputation, but Disney will still be protected for its right to fire her. And also they'll get a black eye in the public along the way. And I think that's probably how it should all pan out.
Right. And I think the biggest win is discovery.
Yeah.
Yeah, they won't want it to go there, so I think they'll settle out of court and get a public apology.
I don't know she's settling. I don't know that she's settling.
And then she'll have a contributor gig with Fox News or Newsmax for the next 20 years.
So she's sorted either way. Well, she's sorted anyway, isn't she now? This would have been different if that dismissal tweet had just been, "We wish Miss
Yeah,
Carano
absolutely.
all the..."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just you can't do that, can you? It's just not professional to do such things. And I think if that would have been a professional tweet saying, "We wish Miss Carano all the best for the future," blah blah blah, we'd been a better play. Well, we'd have been in a different position now, wouldn't we?
I think so.
Right.
They
Yeah.
made it They made it ideological. Yeah.
Yeah. So Rennie asked an interesting question regarding the legal theory. Yeah, it was just before the Supreme Court. Those of us in America may be very much aware of this. There's a certain baker in Colorado, and a gay group decided that they wanted to target him.
Very good.
Because he's very religious and would refuse to make cakes for gay weddings. It's a private enterprise, and he's free to do that, except that they sued, and it went all the way to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said, yeah, it's his business. He can choose his customers in that way if he felt that it was against his religion, and there you go.
Ian, thoughts, and we'll kind of move on. I think we got a little bit heavy then. Ian?
Well, I don't really. I mean, I know a bit about it, but I don't know much about it. If you know what I mean. I know that she tweeted something, and it wasn't really offensive. If you read it carefully, she got fired for that. We all know that Disney's steep into their religion, this religion that's trying to, like spreading like cancer around the Western world. We know all that, but the question is whether she could win.
Should she have tweeted those messages though?
Does it? But maybe not. Probably not. But
should
still.
Pedro have? That's the thing. Pedro shouldn't have done it, and she shouldn't have.
Look. She's going to try and take Disney to court, right?
Yeah, it was just stupid.
She wouldn't have done it if it wasn't for the backing from Elon Musk. Elon Musk has all the money in the world, so I guess it's just to bring more attention to how bad and how silly Disney is, and if they achieve that, then I guess they've won. But I don't think she's going to win the case.
Really?
Yeah, no, because Disney's very powerful, and
also is Musk.
and also am I wrong? It's going to be in California. Is it California laws?
No, it'll be federal court, but California laws. So at least you avoid the home team court of being in California.
Yeah. So she might win, but and I said I don't know enough about it to comment fully about it. I've listened. I've watched Gary today, and he was talking about it.
Yeah.
And then I watched Midnight Edge, where Tom went crazy at one point.
I stopped watching that.
Yeah, and I was watching that as well, and it all kind of brings it into focus. But for the life of me, I can't remember the ins and outs of what everybody was saying. But I wish her luck, because I think she's a good actress.
PCat, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I mean, I think a mix of what everybody was saying. It's one of those things where the company has the right to employ. Now, if I run a company and I hire Mr. Brown, and you start tweeting or ranting and raving things that most people may not find offensive, but a certain portion of my customer base is saying, well, we're not going to be buying your product anymore because your employee is offending us. Well, now I can say, well, you're no longer under my employ because you're hurting my business. And as was said before by the panel, First Amendment does not cover your protection. I have the First Amendment to hire and who I want and fire who I want, as long as the government is not doing it. I think the best case scenario that can come out of all this is it exposes Disney for what they are, and it allows me, you, and everybody else as consumers to say, you know what, I don't want to pay or support Disney because this is the type of garbage company that they run. That's where we can make our own personal stand by not supporting Disney. But I think they're going to win overall on this, as far as not having to. They won't lose.
I think a problem with culture nowadays is it's going to the professionalism stuff. Disney should tweet just purely professional tweets. Yeah, no slagging people off or doing this or doing that. Keep it professional, because end of the day, it's their company and they want to make money and they've got to keep it professional. If they don't keep it professional, then why should the actors who work for them keep it professional? So there is that. That's an issue as well, probably. It's double
Well,
standards.
I think I'm not sure Disney does want to make money given their behaviors of late.
Yeah.
And so again, the one of the things that kind of clouds this issue is you look at Disney and you go, why are you being so stupid, right? Why are you intentionally aggravating and annoying 50%
We know why.
of your potential audience, right? And the fact is that Disney is a company that has shareholders, and those shareholders have decided that the current leadership is just fine. And so if they want to take their company and their toys and their giant pile of money and pour gasoline on it and light it on fire, they are allowed to do that, right? The stupidity is not illegal.
It's unbelievable.
Well, they know that they don't care about profit. The people that actually run Disney now, and especially Hollywood, they don't care about profit. All they care about is putting that crappy message out there and actually developing the next generation to be like them, to think like them. This is their ultimate goal. Right, that's their ultimate goal. They don't really care about movies.
On the question, the earnings call, Disney Plus lost 1.4 million subscribers in the first.
It's almost as much as me.
Oh, that's on today, isn't it? Yeah, that's on today, isn't it?
But you have to understand, right? That's their goal, right? We asked the question, why is their film so bad? That is the answer. That will always be the answer. So don't fool yourselves about somebody cares at Disney. No one cares at Disney. No one cares if their films make any money. That is what they're trying to do, and that's above everything that we think. That's what they're doing.
And the people that actually own the company are allowing it to happen. And until those owners say that's about enough of that shit, it's going to continue.
Ego Manuel says Gina should have added weird at the end of every tweet. Then it would have been fine. It would.
True.
It would. Okay. Shall we sidestep? We'll try and get through these as quickly as we can. And then Elon posted this. An anonymous source from Disney just sent me this. It's mandatory institutionalized racism and sexism. And it's like a inclusion standards for different levels within the company.
Yeah, I think that's from 2020 and is freely available on their website.
Okay, so it wasn't not kind of, as it says there,
I just
anonymous
don't think
kind
Elon
of.
knew about it.
Okay. Did anybody read some of the points?
Yeah, I've seen it previously.
DEI bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay. It is freely available then, folks. I did read some of it, but I just who gives a fuck.
It's really funny how this world ignores facts now. The authorities and politicians, they all ignore the facts and they lie blatantly to your face on broadcast and everything. It's really changing for the worse, I reckon. I know I sound like my dad when he was alive, but seriously, it's really changing for the worse. It really is. I hope this madness stops soon.
Then Elon followed it up with another tweet pretty much straight after. If you were discriminated against by Disney or its subsidiaries, ABC, ESPN, Marvel, etc., just reply to this post to receive legal support.
Yeah, so I mean, this is one side of our political divide in the U.S. has been engaged in what we call lawfare for quite a while, which is essentially try to get things done via the
I've never heard
system.
of that. Lawfare.
Lawfare, yeah.
Wow.
So it's warfare by other means. So essentially what you try to do is you get the judiciary to create law that would not pass the legislature because you don't have the votes to support it, or you go after opponents by suing them because the process, the punishment itself, right? And I think that what's happened is Elon and some others have finally woke up and realized, despite our moral concerns about engaging in this, being one-sided in this fight is a bit stupid. And this is Elon getting mad at Iger and others.
He's got a boner, hasn't he?
Yeah, because of this. And he's like, all right, well, then if you want to pick a fight, I'm willing to have a fight, and I'm willing to fight dirty.
Yep.
Echo, any thoughts on this?
I think fundamentally, I like the spirit of this, of trying to challenge the DEI restrictions and the atmosphere. But I don't really like Elon Musk that much, and there's a attitude here of these big guns just kind of jerking each other off and having their own little rivalries and stuff.
There you go, Clash of the Titans.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm finding it harder and harder to find good guys in these spats and cultural arguments and battles.
Yeah, you just have to opt for the least worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, make no mistake, Elon Musk is a supervillain.
Yes. And not especially bright one, but...
Is he our supervillain, though? If it's
No.
possible.
He's his supervillain.
He's no mega mind, that's for sure.
Well, he just has this thing of as Elon Musk giveth, Elon Musk taketh away. There'll be some fantastic scientific or SpaceX breakthrough, which is wonderful, and then the next week he'll like retweet some dodgy, vaguely anti-Semitic tweet thing, just stupidly and pointlessly. So it goes back and forth.
Or he'll try to sell you autopilot.
Yeah. So I don't know. There's a spirit here which I like, but there's also elements of sleaze and massive ego.
Ego, Wayfarer Project says, don't fall for the cult of personality.
No.
Yeah, don't hitch your wagon to any of these people. If you benefit, it is only ancillary to what they're wanting to get. And again, it's I'm reminded of Kissinger when talking about the Iran-Iraq war, and he said it's a shame that both sides can't lose.
And remember what Bob Dylan said: "Don't follow leaders, watch your parking meters."
Yes.
P, anything to add?
No, I think it's been said on this part.
Okay, let's move on. I don't know what's next. I'm sure it's... oh, there you go.
Brilliant.
He posted this today, and it made me chuckle. The original tweet is just an entertainment tweet. Disney considers... is it AO?
Ayo.
AO.
Ayo.
AO?
She must get that 10 times a day.
AO. How do you pronounce her surname?
Edabiri.
Yeah. Ayo Edabiri.
AO as replacement. Oh, replacement for Johnny Depp in Pirates 6. Disney's reportedly... it just says... a film that would feature a younger cast of pirates. And then Elon goes, Disney sucks.
Put a chick in it and make it diverse and lame. Oh God. But she's not really replacing him according to some sources. It's just a spin-off in the same universe. The pirate verse, as you may wish to coin it.
Pirate verse.
The pirate verse.
I'll take it, and we're not going to go watch this then.
I don't know that it's ever going to get made. All it says is that Disney's considering things. I consider many things that never actually get done.
Yeah, Disney just sends up trial balloons these days to see if there's any response. It's not actually in production or being taken seriously.
They're desperately looking for money to back something because they don't have much of it.
Mm-hmm.
Echo, got a question for you. Oh, sorry, chat moved up. Bear with me.
Go on.
Do you want to read it? Because you're better at reading.
Right. Manuel Grillo at Echo Chamberlain. Did Dylan say that before or after he went electric? When everyone turned on him for selling out. He said it just as he was turning electric. Yeah. In the famous track Subterranean Homesick Blues.
Homesick Blues, yeah.
You don't need a weatherman to know which way the wind blows.
This is going to be shit if they make this film with that girl in it. whoever she is.
It's
It'll
the
be shit
pirate
if they
version
make
of
it anyway.
Ironheart.
Mhm.
It'll be soft and happy and bouncy and utterly vacuous and empty.
Nah, it'll be shit.
Drink, everybody. You go, Whale and Pacificus, you can't make this shit up.
But as I said, right, people with common sense can see this is just not good. But
It's
again,
shit.
the idea of making money on your films is not on top of their agenda, is it? So agenda, ha ha ha, and all that.
0 week.
Yeah. So it's not. So we know what they're trying to do. The best thing we can do is stay away from crap like this.
Yep.
Do you think, is he going to buy Disney with his
No.
pal?
No.
No?
No, I don't think so. But it would
How
be
much
nice
would
if he
Disney
did.
cost? Maybe
I
not.
don't know. It would be nice if he did, though. That'd be hilarious. That would be so fun.
I'd prefer if Apple did it.
You
A lot
might
of
get
this
too
stuff
much
is
of
pretty
a
good.
you might get too much of a counter reaction. Like I hate spite buying and anything to do with spite in the culture. Like there's a Snow White which is liberal and flaky with 7 magical people. So the Daily Wire comes up with a super ultra Caucasian Snow White, which is smug and sneering and saying, "Well, look what we've
Who
done."
looks like Ben Shapiro.
Yeah. So I don't want him to buy Disney because he's a great entrepreneur and visionary, but it's not going to mean he's going to have anything
well,
clever to do
Just,
with entertainment.
taking shit and changing the uniform is still shit in whatever uniform
No,
it's
well,
in, so
no.
don't worry
Well,
about it.
did you know if he does buy Disney, the best thing he can do is step back, give it to people that he trusts to push Disney forward. So he can
Favreau.
go back to formula, as I keep saying. It's a new one now. Go back to formula, and hopefully it will.
Favreau and Carano running it.
Do you know what I
More-
mean? So
More likely it'll be Amber Heard.
I'm just saying, right?
Will it be
I
shit
mean,
then? Yes.
It might be
Yeah.
a good. It might be a good thing if he buys it and just steps back and says, right, there you go, and get the right people to take Disney in the right. Because when I was a kid, I loved Disney.
Disney, yeah. Well, I think everybody did. Everybody. I might be
Yeah.
wrong, but everybody, and they did great films as well. Wholesome
I
entertainment.
still think they can turn it around. I still think if somebody took over
What, like the
Disney,
Titanic?
yeah, sink.
It'll be floating up any day now.
Yeah, I still think they can turn it around. As I said, all you need somebody to buy Disney. If he buys Disney, get the right people involved, get them to come out and say we're disregarding everything that the last regime has done with Star Wars. We're starting to scratch
And everything else.
and everything else, and just go right through the list. A Marvel, everything, can say we're disregarding everything. We're starting from scratch. We've hired the right writers. Blah 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 blah, and you'll see how much attention. And people, like us, big fans, will be looking closely, and hopefully they'll produce really good films. And then it's back on
Could
track.
he get Lasseter to run Pixar again?
No, I wouldn't get any of those people that was involved before. I wouldn't get Gunn. I wouldn't get any of them. I would. Me personally, if I was in charge of Disney, I'd try and look for people or producers and directors that I know that can handle the business side as well as the creative side. That's what I do. I think getting Gunn back and the other people that was involved in Marvel and the Disney films, stuff like that, I think it's a big waste of time because they've been really tainted. You got to try and find some new people to take over, some clever people, that kind. You've got to find a new generation of filmmakers. That's what I'm saying.
Z, are you available, please? It's not quite. It's like off gold.
Off gold. I'm happy with off gold. Come on, people, for 20 British pounds, which is real money, don't you know?
Wow.
I wouldn't have to go to bed now if I had what Brown had in 1999. As my old dad used to say, I haven't been in my panic room for years. I hope she's okay.
Thank you, my friend.
Good in Woodstock, there's a famous footage where some guy goes on the stage and says, whatever you do, don't take the brown acid. It seems to be bad. Imagine if you were that guy in the crowd who had just 5 minutes earlier had taken the brown acid.
Just dropped it. Oh, no.
I did, and that's why we're here now. So probably
one of the sad things about Disney's fall is it was a generational studio. I grew up as a kid, and my parents couldn't wait for me to see the movies that they grew up on.
Yeah.
Pinocchio, Cinderella. They made, some of their live action movies, and I was excited when I saw them. And then when my sister was old enough, I was excited to watch those movies with my sister. And my sister was excited when she had a baby to show my niece those movies. But when was the last time they made movies that you would want to show future generations that came out in the last 20 years, as far as for children?
Old-fashioned movies, with old-fashioned values. I mean, I remember when I can't remember, I was 10, and my parents kept saying, you should watch Dumbo, and I kept saying no, and then they made me sit down to watch Dumbo, and I still to this day I think that's one of the best Disney films. Very short as well, one of the best Disney films ever made, I thought, in my opinion. So yeah.
Remember when Bob Iger took over again, and there was like universal but very provisional goodwill that sensible Bob Iger's back, he'll come and steer the ship. But there's now a very palpable sense of a ticking clock that he's running out of time he's burning up that provisional will very quickly. And it's partly not his fault, because he's got to turn around this gigantic ocean liner with all these projects
he started all this bullshit. Here you go. Bob Iger is worth 700 million. Musk 195 billion, not even a close match.
Well, he wouldn't be buying up Bob, he'd be buying out all the shareholders.
I think somebody in the chat said, was it 180 billion to share value at the moment of Disney? That's a lot of change, isn't it?
Certainly is.
So, Emperor, you know the legal ins and outs. To what degree does Disney have to consent to having a shift of owner? And to what degree in a commercial enterprise like this could someone like Musk act in a kind of hostile way to use machinations and ways to try and take over?
So you have a couple of ways to do it. One is that you just go with the board and replace board seats based on investment, the amount that you have, and then toss Iger out and replace the leadership. Now, that requires a certain amount of joint work with the rest of the shareholders. So I don't know, Peltz and crew they have what, like 10%, something like that. You have a lot of common shareholders that'll essentially go with whichever the wind blows. I believe Vanguard and BlackRock holds something like 30%. So you would have to get enough and then attract enough allies to overcome the players who are going to be against you, and then hope that everybody else just kind of goes along with it. If, on the other hand, you have to do it hostily, I believe it's up to 10% that you buy before you have to declare intent to take over the company, at which point the stock price goes through the roof. And then he's got to go, it won't be $190 billion if he buys 51% of Disney shares, because you will affect the price a lot.
Yeah, because they'll go up, won't they?
But you would then have to get a majority of shares, not a quorum of shares, but a majority, at which point you can do whatever the hell you want.
So feasible then, in both situations.
Maybe. I mean, I first of all, Elon's down about $55 billion thanks to what Delaware decided.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on. All sidesteps. It's pretty heavy, is this? So let's see what's next. I'm sure it's something to do with Musk. This just popped in today. X is the #1 app on the App Store, folks.
Isn't that just today?
Today. Today. X becomes the #1 most downloaded app. Now, is that of all time or today? I don't know.
No, it's just today.
Okay. So what is that sending a message then, do we think? Or
maybe.
Or maybe they pushed an update and everybody had to download it again.
Don't think there was an update. But anyway, here you go, folks. Fat Lobber for £2. Real money, folks. No message, just a funny sticker of Winnie the Pooh. Even though we can't see it, but Thank you, my friend. Okay. I think that is it for the slides. Wait, so we've got 15 minutes. So what do you want to do, folks? Ask the panel anything, or
What is your show?
I'm easy. Ian,
I had
anything you
heard
want to
that.
do?
I had heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not really. I don't know. We can talk about anything really.
We'll test the chat.
Chats.
Yeah, ask
We've
the
got
chat,
15 minutes. Anything you want to talk about? We are gonna, don't worry, we're gonna do them when Swappers is back from the US, which is next couple of weeks, I do believe. He's the man to get all the pictures for the hot actresses, isn't he, Ian?
Well, actresses and men as well, isn't it? So because it's unfair if we only do actresses, isn't it? Someone like
Let's
Rennie.
talk about Fitbirds. So chat, anything you want to talk about then? We've got 15 minutes to fill. So anything? Here you go. Listening Fatler, my friend. Talk about EVS destroying Ripper.
Who?
Ethan Van Sciver.
I don't know.
Oh, what's going on there then? I have no idea
Anybody
what's going
know?
on.
Not me.
Well, just comics people arguing amongst themselves.
Okay. Well, it does happen, I guess.
Oh, this is anybody see this tweet that's been doing the rounds in the chat? Question: will Dune 2, was it June 2, go woke? Will Channy take over? Will Denis fuck it up? What do we think, folks?
Well, she's supposed to have a bigger role in the movie than she has in the books. So I don't know if that's the shape of things to come. We'll just have to wait and see. It's only a couple of weeks before it comes out.
Yeah, I mean, worrying about it now is a bit late in the game. I'm just hoping it's a good movie. But my hopes have been dashed before.
I'm worried.
Well, as well you should be.
Here you go, Drew Gordon. Yes, it will suck. Echo?
I'm not
Sorry, I'm just back from I had to have a private moment after hearing what that legalese got me quite worked up.
Oh my!
So, what are we discussing?
Is Dune 2 or June 2 gonna suck?
No, I think it's going to be visually spectacular and beautiful, and it's going to be great to watch the two films at the same time as like companion pieces. It's kind of soulless and empty and sterile in an emotional sense, but I've kind of baked that into the cake now. Like I'm ready. Those are my expectations going in.
Z, you were going to say?
What was I going to say?
I don't know. You was going to say something.
No,
this is the worst ventriloquist act I've ever seen.
What's this? Does anybody know what's happened to Az? Something's happened. I just got a message saying.
I'm still in the midst of it.
If you explain what's going on, because I don't know what's going on. I just got a message saying that Az, there's something up with Az.
Heel v Babyface.
Yeah, him. Yeah. If somebody could find out, that could waste some bit of time talking about that. I know. I know what's her name got married, didn't she? Star Wars girl got married, didn't she? Yeah. She looked great in her wedding dress.
She did. Here you go, Jamalama. I've heard rumours of Dune 2 comparing to Empire Strikes Back. Oh, that was what you call it, wasn't it? Christopher Nolan. Yeah.
Chris Nolan.
Yes, and Matthew Vaughn told me that Deadpool 3 would save the MCU. So pardon me while I ignore that.
What about Flash?
Yeah.
Did you see?
Oh, here you go.
Sorry, go ahead.
Did anyone see the leaked costumes for Daredevil Born Again?
Oh God, it looks awful.
Lord.
That'll be on the Sunday night. Yeah,
Bullseye looks terrible.
It really does look awful.
I have a complete run of Frank Miller's Daredevil first editions. They're my most treasured possession.
Yeah.
And they're absolutely going to massacre my boy.
Mm.
Did you see the photo? Now I know it could be fixed in post, but did you see the photo of the Daredevil actual full costume where you can see his eyes clearly?
Oh my
I
God.
just
with the like the goggle things over him.
Yeah, I mean, and again, that could be something that could be fixed in post, maybe, but it's just the way the photo looks. Seeing his eyes clearly shining through doesn't look right.
The more interesting thing to me is for a man who depends on his hearing, why in the hell is he wearing a helmet that covers his ears?
Mm.
And yet
There's no
has
horns
a way
either.
to see through it.
Here you go, folks. Alex says cancelled Batgirl level of costume design.
Yeah, it didn't look good. I wasn't impressed. Bullseye looks terrible. They haven't even got the Daredevil logo on his costume. I mean, what the hell?
Well, yeah, I mean, the costume they had in the Netflix was good, but it was always in the dark, wasn't it? You never really saw it in daylight, so it kind of hid a lot of so because when you look at the costume in broad daylight, it doesn't look good at all. And Charlie Cox doesn't look good in it at all.
No.
But as I said, right, it's much better than what they're coughing up now, definitely. How could you get from good to worse? How?
The Disney way.
I mean, I've seen it perfected many times over the last 4 or 5 years.
Also, you got to have the right body to fit in that costume as well. And Charlie seems to have put on a bit of weight. Again, he's getting a bit thin at the top as well. So I don't know what they're going to do really.
You hire incompetent people.
Yep.
Who does?
That's the quickest way to go from really good to shit.
I don't know. I'm just my heart's broken because I really I didn't mind what Netflix was doing with the Marvel characters. I think it was quite good. Oh my God!
Alex talking about you, Bram.
Just
What is
look at
this?
that disgrace.
Look at that.
Awful.
Don't look at that, folks. It's
Oh,
dog
God.
shit. The fuck's that?
That's a Star Wars Praetorian Guard and a BDSM crossover.
Yeah.
Bring out the gimp.
This is like amateur levels of cosplay.
Yeah, isn't it?
That's awful.
That can't be Charlie Cox, surely.
Yeah.
What?
He's putting weight. Oh no!
It's
This is just going to be awful.
It's either him or his stuntman.
Yeah,
it
it could be
the
just
stuntman.
for placing and blocking and stuff like that. Maybe
sorry, gimp suit.
Yep.
Is that a plastic toy?
It
Probably.
looks like one, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Looks depressing as fuck. Yeah.
The thing is, though, watching Daredevil, especially the Netflix Daredevil, you realize that he can't do it because, like, you see the size of him in the city, you realize that he can't do all those things. How could you make him do it? Because in the comics, he could use his billy club to swing across the sea. I'm like, there's no way. There's no way you can do that. I mean, I can understand Spider-Man because he's got superhuman strength and, you know, he's like a human spider and all that. But an ordinary man, you know, a blind one at that, I don't understand how he can do any of that stuff. So that's why I like the Netflix version because they brought everything down, didn't they, to a realistic level.
Yeah.
Worse than Ben Affleck.
I mean, it looks like the Daredevil you have at home.
Yeah.
And,
I thought Ben Affleck's costume was better than this one, definitely.
Oh yeah, I want to see the D. I want to see the double D on the uniform at some point too, and the horn. You know, they took away the horns. It looks like.
No, I think there are some that are just not very impressive.
Well, that's going to be CGI'd, obviously.
And that's your bullseye.
Ugh,
That's Bullseye.
Yes.
terrible.
Why is it? I give in. This is going to be awful. This is just going to be awful. It's ridiculous.
It's not looking good, is it?
No, it's not.
Will that not be CGI'd over?
But you know, look, right. You know, when I was reading Captain America in the comics, right? When I used to read Captain America, I used to think his costume looks great in the comics. And then they did a version of the Elton John version. I thought, oh my God, the costume looks absolutely awful. So when Marvel announced they were going to do Captain America, I thought, oh my God, the costume's going to look awful. But it didn't. They somehow designed it in such a way that is very acceptable for its time. and it really worked really well. That's what I got to do with the Daredevil costume. Design it as a functional thing, like they did with Captain America's costume. But they're not going to do that, are they?
Well,
Because
listen,
you're
the whole
wishing.
function. I mean, it's functional. It functions as a laugh track enabler.
Yeah.
This whole thing has Batgirl tax write-off vibes to it.
Yeah, I mean, the same thing with Bullseye's costume. Obviously, in the comics, it's fine, but in real life, with a big target on his chest and his head, it's not going to look good, especially in blue. He's going to look like an idiot. But there's got to be some way you can take that design and make it work, like they did with the Captain America costume. There's got to be dressing him all in black and spandex. It just looks stupid. It really does. Anyway.
It looks like you got your 80s ninja movie and my Marvel movie.
Revenge of the Ninja.
Oh, I used to love
Yes.
those ninja movies. So 80s, but amazing.
You
Why
could do a
didn't-
happy medium where you had the way they used Punisher. They didn't make it a bright white skull.
No,
That
yeah.
is, they dulled it down. That
Mm.
it was there, but it wasn't something that you would see in the dark. Blaring at you.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think.
for the Brits, Arch
We're in
Colin, will Bullseye be played by
Jim
Well, let's
Bowen.
smash into it, but
Yeah.
okay. It's not going to go well, is it? It's not going to go down well, is it, Ian?
No, it's not. It's not at all. Daredevil's meant to be a redhead, isn't he?
Yes.
Matt Murdock.
Yes.
Yeah. The curse of not getting someone redheaded to play any characters on TV.
Here you go.
or
Manuel
films.
says American Ninja 2 was pinnacle. I did enjoy the American Ninja series.
It was all right.
I was always more of a Sho Kosugi Ninja fan.
Oh, no. I
Enter
was
the
as well.
Ninja.
Enter the
Revenge of the
Ninja.
Ninja.
Yes.
What was that guy's
Yes,
name? He was in a lot.
Revenge of the Ninja.
Franco, what's his name? That Italian
the
star.
Italian guy.
Franco
Yeah.
Nero.
Franco Nero. He was in a
Nero.
couple, wasn't he?
Oh, the ninja films are fantastic. Okay. I think we're getting towards the end. Is anything else? Chat, anything else? You got a couple of minutes?
Ninja.
Yes, no, yes, no. Enter the Minger.
That's right.
Yeah.
Although I
somewhere.
believe he's probably trying to say enter the Minger.
Yeah, Hollywood Ninja. Here you go. Franco Nero. Franco Nero was Django. Those ninja films were shit. No, they weren't. They were brilliant. They were brilliant.
In the bin with you, Drew.
Let's have a look.
They were brilliant.
I like Revenge of the Ninja. That was fun seeing it when I was a kid on HBO when it premiered.
Yes.
Okay, we'll answer this. Fat or Lobber. Gina is being used by Elon.
Yes.
Yeah, I think she's a very useful piece in his larger game.
Wow.
And the danger that she risks is that his ADD strikes and it gets distracted and goes chases some new toy, and suddenly financing for lawyers goes away.
Here you go, Dr. Iceman. I miss Ruin streams on Wednesdays. I will pass that message on, my friend. Okay. I think that's it, folks. I think that is it. So, chat, you are wonderful. Yeah, we got a little bit deep in there after the first hour, folks. Sorry about that, but we will not mention it again. I think we've kind of put that to bed for now. So, chat, you are wonderful. Thank you for the super chats. We will see you next time. I will thank the guests. I'll start from the top. Zee-ThreePIO.
Thank you for having me. Many people do.
My pleasure. Emperor Goodwin.
Always a pleasure.
Cheers, Emps. PCat.
Thank you as always, you very cheeky fellow.
Bad boy of YouTube. Echo. Chamberlain.
Thanks as always, Brownie. Always a pleasure to be on.
How's the channel doing? Is it still up?
Yep, still there. Lost about 50 subs and climbing. But that's
Really?
fine.
Oh my God.
Wow.
That's all right.
Some
I don't
people
mind.
just cannot take a difference of opinion.
50.
Well, those are the people
Zee,
I
did you,
don't want to be around.
Did you agree with our final brackets, Zee, on the Disney Plus stupidest moment of the
The
queef
stupidest
beneath my
moment
wings?
was Ahsoka cartwheeling in space, and what was the other one? It was
the
equally
force
stupid.
push of
Force
Ezra.
push.
Yeah.
Force push. I wanted Force push to win because that was so
was shite.
monumentally stupid.
Well, that was our winner.
Yeah, she'd learned the Force like 5 minutes ago. And all these people on X going, oh, well, Sabine had training. She had training before with Ahsoka. She's tried this before. She's been trying it all the time. No, she hasn't, you idiots. They just gave her it just like that, just when she needed it. And I don't know, what did she do? Tap into the Force iCloud like Ray did and download all her training?
Yeah, I guess.
She just needed to believe in herself, and then the Force.
Oh.
The Force was always inside of you.
Fuck off, show.
I will say, Wayfarer, if you got the link for that thingy, post it, mate. I think you're
It was
mod,
brilliant.
so be quick, mate. And last, but by no means least, he's the wise elder of the channel. All that jazz. It is the wonderful Mega Geek himself. Ian David Diaz.
No worries, guys. No worries. Yep. It's the only thing I'll say at the end.
We could say shit.
Well, nah, I'll save that for the next one.
There's Wayfarer's link there, folks. Check him out. I had a listen to his little music. I think it's pretty good. So I think that's it, folks. We are back at the weekend. I keep saying we should do a movie. Maybe we will, but definitely
Attack
back
of
on.
the Clones. Attack of the Clones.
No.
Well, we've got to get
12-hour
Ruin
stream.
back.
Yeah, we do. We need Ruin
Ruin's
back.
off the scene for a while, folks. Sorry, folks. That is it, folks. We will see you at the weekend. Enjoy the rest of the week, which is about 3 days. Never mind. I think Halo and Tokyo Vice Season 2 out today. Yes, come on, bring it. That's it, folks. Take care. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Timing.
Boo jabber.
Lover.
Bye.
Bye.
Still live.
Are we?
He hasn't put the